Do trash companies really recycle your recyclables? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a question that a lot of us have wondered about. Do trash companies really recycle your recyclables? Is your effort to separate your plastics, papers, and cans making a difference? Or is it all ending up in the landfill? What happens after the truck picks up your recycling? To find out, let's follow the journey of your recyclables, starting from the moment they're picked up from the curb. This is where most of us assume things are running smoothly, but there's much more happening behind the scenes. After your recyclables are picked up, they're taken to a facility called an MRF, Materials Recovery Facility. The MRF is where recyclables are sorted by type: paper, plastic, metals, and glass. Here, machines and workers separate the items into categories, getting them ready for processing. But what happens if something that shouldn't be in the bin, like plastic bags or food waste, sneaks in? That's when things get tricky. And this leads us to our next section. Contamination, the silent recycling killer. One of the biggest challenges for recycling companies is contamination. Contaminated materials can spoil an entire load of recycling, forcing it to be sent to the landfill. Let's dive into the common types of contamination and why they're such a problem. Contamination happens when we put the wrong materials in the recycling bin, or when we don't prepare recyclables properly. Pizza boxes covered in grease? Not recyclable. Plastic bags? Not recyclable. Most curbside programs can't handle them, and if you toss in food scraps by mistake, it could render an entire batch useless. Contamination is a big issue for us. For instance, a plastic container covered in food waste or non-recyclable items like plastic bags can get caught in our sorting machines, causing delays and even damage to equipment. It's important to keep recyclables clean and follow the local guidelines. By properly sorting and cleaning your recyclables, you help ensure that they can actually be recycled. Here's a tip. If it's covered in food or grease, it probably belongs in the trash. According to reports, about 25% of what people throw in recycling bins is contaminated and can't be processed. But contamination isn't the only issue. What types of materials get recycled? Let's talk about the different types of materials and which ones are most likely to actually get recycled. Spoiler alert, not all plastics are created equal. Materials like aluminum cans, glass, and cardboard are highly recyclable. Aluminum, for example, can be recycled indefinitely without losing quality. Paper and cardboard can also be recycled several times before the fibers wear out. When it comes to plastics, it's a bit trickier. Not all plastics are recyclable in curbside programs. Items labeled number 1 and number 2, like water bottles and milk jugs, are usually accepted. But items labeled numbered 3 to number 7, like plastic bags or certain food containers, are harder to recycle and often end up in the landfill. Even within plastics, there's a big difference in demand. Higher grade plastics are valuable, while lower grade plastics don't have much of a market, which leads us to our next big challenge: the economics of recycling. The economics of recycling. Who buys the recyclables? Once your recyclables are sorted and cleaned, they're sold to manufacturers who turn them into new products. But recycling isn't just an environmental initiative, it's a business. Let's talk about how market demand affects what actually gets recycled. After China stopped accepting many foreign recyclables in 2018, the global market for recyclables changed drastically, with fewer buyers for things like plastics. Many recycling facilities have struggled to find new markets, leading some materials to pile up or end up in landfills. We have to balance the economics. If there's no buyer for a particular material, it often doesn't make sense to process it, especially with lower grade plastics. This is why it's so important for us to focus on materials that have a strong demand in the market, like aluminum, cardboard, and certain types of plastic. With shifting global markets, recycling facilities have to be strategic about what they process and where they send their materials. But what does that mean for us, the everyday recyclers? The future of recycling and what you can do. So, where does this leave us? Is recycling still worth it? The answer is yes, but we need to adapt. Let's look at some innovative solutions and what you can do to make your recycling efforts count. Across the country, we're seeing more companies and communities stepping up to find creative ways to recycle. From companies using recycled plastic to make eco-friendly products, to cities investing in better waste management infrastructure, the future of recycling depends on innovation. And for you at home, here's what you can do to help. Rinse and clean your recyclables. Follow local recycling guidelines. Avoid wish cycling. If you're unsure about an item, it's better to throw it out. Try to reduce your use of single-use plastics in the first place. So does your recycling actually get recycled? The answer is yes when it's done right. The materials you carefully sort and clean are much more likely to be processed and turned into new products. But contamination and market demand play huge roles in determining the final outcome. Here's the key takeaway. Keep recycling, but do it smarter. Know your local guidelines, clean your recyclables, and focus on materials that are in demand. Every small action adds up when we're talking about reducing waste and protecting the planet. And finally, spread the word. The more people know about how recycling works, the more we can all help reduce waste. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments if you have any other recycling questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Together we can make a difference, one recyclable at a time. Subscribe for more.